So this is the 7th gen iPod Touch. This is the last generation from Apple's iconic iPod lineup. The lineup, which of course started with the original iPod releasing in 2001 and bringing along with it iTunes, an audio library and media player in which you could organize your music, purchase songs from artists, and of course, play them on the go on the iPod. This was a game changer for many, along with other MP3 players that disrupted the market at the time and ultimately killed off CD players like the Sony Discman. So is this throwback piece of tech still worth it in 2024? Well, let's find out. Alright, so design-wise, yeah, this really feels incredible to hold, and it's light too, weighing in at just 88 grams, and even better to look at. The design is, well, a classic. This blue color really pops. You get that wonderful anodized aluminium chassis and an 8 megapixel f2.4 single camera sensor out the back and a Wi-Fi Bluetooth antenna on the right with a cute little torch. Now this just feels so tiny in your hand. It's got a height of about 4.86 inches and it's about 6.1 millimeters in thickness, which is just insane because it's just thick enough to house a headphone jack. That's right, for all the audiophiles out there, you don't have to worry about Bluetooth compression affecting sound quality, fidelity, and reliability, as you'll always be jacked into the source. Now at the front, you do have your 4-inch Retina touch display, which definitely takes you back to 2019. It's not the sharpest display by any means, but there isn't any off-axis color shift, and colors feel accurate. Now, the biggest letdown here is the brightness. It just doesn't get nearly as bright as modern screens do, so outdoor visibility isn't the best. Now, when it comes to performance, you get Apple's A10 Fusion chip coupled with 2 gigs of RAM, and although this sounds pretty measly by today's standards, the user experience here is still decent. Apple's optimized OS across their devices has always been excellent, and this is no different. Performance across the board is good. Navigating the UI still feels smooth, aside from the occasional stutter here and there. The same goes for playing games. It still does a good job with most games, but you'll start to see it lag a bit on more demanding games. But honestly, it still feels super trippy playing games on something as thin as this light remote I use. It just feels so incredible. Now the camera system is pretty bare bones. The single 8 megapixel sensor allows you to take photos that are modest in quality and detail. The autofocus is a little janky here as well. It's not the quickest and would hunt around for a bit. In saying this, photos are still passable and you're able to capture some memories, but probably not too great for social media. Now the battery life here isn't great. I can easily kill this thing in half a day if I really tried. This is with gaming, browsing the web, watching content, and of course listening to music. However, if you're solely planning on using this for music, then you can go up to a day and a half, but the screen on time here is realistically 3 hours. I also want to add that typing took a little while for me to get used to on this tiny little screen, which requires you to have baby fingers to properly operate. Alright, so my final thoughts, well, the 7th gen iPod Touch from Apple really brought a wonderful sense of nostalgia. It just felt so fun to use every day. It's been quite some time since I used wired headphones to listen to music, and it felt great because all I needed were some cheap headphones that I could wrap around the iPod and forget about. And I can see the appeal of this back in the day. You got so much in a great compact little package that was just fantastic for what I imagine to be teenagers who weren't quite ready for a phone yet back in the day. So is the 7th gen iPod Touch really worth it in 2024? Well, that really does depend on what you're actually looking for. If you are looking for that sense of nostalgia and that sweet headphone jack for some awesome wired music consumption that just comes in a compact form factor with some really cool colors to choose from, and you don't mind the bad battery life, then yeah, I gotta say, it's been a true blast from the past using this device. But I just want to mention this, if I had to go back in time and do it all over again, then I honestly think I would go for the iPhone 6s instead of the iPod Touch. The iPhone 6s has a bigger and better screen, it's got a better camera, It's got about similar performance to the iPod Touch, but the most important factor here being that it's got a bigger and better battery, while retaining a similar compact form factor, as well as the headphone jack. A little fun fact for you, the 6S is actually the last iPhone that retained the headphone jack. Well, that is until Apple decides to bring it back and call it an innovation. But yeah, with the 6S, you wouldn't even have to put a SIM in it. You can just work off the Wi-Fi, and it's pretty much an iPod. So yeah, this has been my take on the iPod Touch 7th Gen in 2024. And yeah, comment down below what your thoughts are on the 7th Gen iPod Touch. Do you still have one? Are you planning on getting one? I'd love to hear your thoughts. But yeah, for now, it looks like we're out of time. So I'll catch you guys and girls in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.